Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. So today I want to share with you a little tidbit I've heard for Ahsoka Season 2. I'm going to break down the latest news, and we're also going to dive into some speculation and discuss what it all means, what Dave Filoni is planning. So I want you to cast your mind back to the Season 1 finale, Part 8, The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. After the stranded Ahsoka Tano and Sabine Wren set up camp with the local Peridea Noti, something behind them catches the reborn Ahsoka's eye. Over her shoulder, she sees a familiar friend perched on a rock nearby. She crosses her arms as the two exchange a meaningful glance. This creature is none other than the convor bird, Morai. Morai is a rather mysterious character who we've now seen in the Clone Wars, in Rebels, and even subtly on Corvus in The Mandalorian Season 2. In one way or another, she is heavily connected to the daughter of Mortis, who in her final act sacrificed herself to save Ahsoka by transferring her life force. And ever since that defining moment, Star Wars fans have theorized that it's Ahsoka Tano's destiny to take the daughter's place. Morai's been following Ahsoka and watching over her during her most important moments. But here's the problem. Morai's connection to the Force, and by extension to the daughter and Ahsoka, has not fully been answered yet. Some say she's the embodiment of the daughter, the reincarnation, that the convor bird is carrying her spirit, but Dave Filoni has denied some of these interpretations. The real answer, I believe, is going to come in Season 2, and it's intentionally been left ambiguous. One of the most important clues that we do have is that once upon a time in the ancient past, Morai served the daughter and the Ones as a loyal companion and a servant, but she is connected in some ways to the living Force. And today, my friends, I have new information from someone who reached out, but I will say it's an unverified rumor. According to the source, Morai's role is going to continue in Season 2. Now, I have to put my hands up and say, I don't know if this means her role is going to be more extensive. It could just be another cameo or two. But I have been told she will appear again, and quote, her role is important to the second season, which doesn't really come as much of a surprise, because we know the Mortis arc is going to play into the Peridea subplot, and also, Ahsoka's journey is going to be more spiritual in Season 2. So what does this mean? Well, I have a bit of a theory I want to share with you, so check this out. Morai's appearance at the end of the first season could be more important than you think. Ahsoka has finally made peace with herself and her past, and now that she's done this, she's reborn in the Force. She is once again open to being called a Jedi. However, her fate is much more than this. When Morai looks over at Ahsoka, it's more direct than any encounter we've seen in the past. It's clear she was trying to convey some kind of message to Ahsoka, and this is where my theory comes in. Her message, and the reason she only appeared at the end of the show, is that it's time for Ahsoka to take her place amongst the Ones. And this is also conveyed on the statue of the Ones. The head of the daughter is erased, symbolic of the fact the mysterious second galaxy is out of balance. They need a new light side user to take the place of the daughter. The person destined for this task is the one who was saved by the original daughter and carries her life essence. And I have a feeling that through the Force, that's what Morai was telling Ahsoka, that it's time. And I believe the direction she then flies off to is the same place Baylan was looking at, a monastery akin to the one from the Mortis arc. And I've noticed, whether it's in Twilight of the Apprentice or the Clone Wars Season 7, that Morai is also connected to Anakin/Darth Vader. In Rebels especially, there are a couple of occasions where when Morai appears, you hear Vader's death theme. I think Morai was always trying to lure both Anakin and Ahsoka to their destiny on Peridea. And like I've said in the past, I think Anakin's ghost knows this. I've already spoken in depth about him being the new father, maybe Baylan the son, but at the moment, Peridea is out of balance. And this is why Abeloth theories are so prevalent. Is there a dark side force that has been dominating? Dave Filoni says yes. In the Blu-ray featurettes for Ahsoka Season 1, he gives the backstory for the Great Mothers, who resided there for centuries. He said, quote, the Great Mothers are ancient witches who have somehow survived on this desolate planet for years and years in some kind of hibernation sleep. And when they wake up, which I think is when Morgan Elsbeth awoke them, they wake up to a different world where their entire way of life has been destroyed and suppressed. Now the Great Mothers are with Thrawn, back in the home galaxy on Dathomir. But this is still relevant going into Season 2, because there are some important questions we have to ask. Why were the Great Mothers in hibernation? Was it a conflict with the Jedi or the Sith? And because of all the legends from this world, what is the power truly conquering it? Something which the Great Mothers worshipped or were under the control of. Abeloth is one possibility, but what if it's some kind of ancient Sith Lord? Or given some of the rumors we've heard, what if before his death, Peridea was a world governed by the sun, a world plunged into darkness somehow, and this connects to one of the biggest questions of the entire show. In what way is Peridea connected to Mortis? Are they truly separate? Is Peridea a manifestation of the sun's influence leaking into the galaxy? Was there once a mythic conflict that we know nothing about? What if Peridea is Mortis's shadow kingdom, and the reason Morai showed up right at the end was to tell Ahsoka that she needs to do something about it? It was a warning of sorts. I think Peridea is more dangerous than we realize, and if it is related to the sun before his death, or maybe Abeloth, then this truly is a realm of chaos, of dreams and madness. What if the presence that once took over Peridea and captured the witches is connected to the Yuuzhan Vong, or their canon equivalent, the Grisk? What if what's calling out to Baylan is a forgotten, lost Great Mother, a matriarch who wasn't freed with the rest, who's calling out to anyone who's willing to help her? I've also seen a theory that says, what if it's the Bendu from Star Wars Rebels? It's a cool idea, but the reason I doubt it is because the Bendu would be trying to help Baylan. I feel as though, just like with Kanan Jarrus, he would give Baylan the right advice. Whatever's calling out to Baylan wants to use him. But now moving on to another Ahsoka update, my friends. Hera Syndulla actress Mary Elizabeth Winstead teases more Hera Syndulla action in Season 2. This is something that was already teased by Dave Filoni in 2024 when he was writing Season 2, and recently at Star Wars Celebration, he said that Hera is a thorn in Grand Admiral Thrawn's side. Whether it's the Battle of Attilan from Star Wars Rebels or the Siege of Lothal, Hera is a very strong leader and understands how Thrawn works. She understands a lot of his tactics and how to get under his skin. And listen, Hera is a main character. Of course she was going to return, but more action scenes is always a plus. And speaking of Star Wars Rebels, my friends, we have an interesting Star Wars update which might be some kind of hint, but it also might be a nothing burger. Lawrence Fishburne says he's a big fan of Star Wars and is currently watching Star Wars Rebels. An unexpected person to be interested in the animated show, but the question is Lawrence Fishburne watching Rebels for some kind of research? Well, in the same interview with Deadline.com, he was asked if he wants to be in Star Wars, and he responded, "No, I'm good." So he shut it down. But you know, actors do say these kinds of things, they deny, and lo and behold, they're in some kind of show or movie. But he might just be watching this because he's a Star Wars fan. Imagine Morpheus in the Star Wars galaxy.